English 3430, how are you? I am talking to you this morning for the first of what I have as planned two discussions. This first discussion is going to be a very basic one about something I posted on this same discussion thread, which is a day-to-day calendar for the month of February. I'm just kind of taking it at this point month to month. You will have plenty of reading assignments that you'll be able to get a head start on if you need to as we go forward. But what I wanted to point out was just a couple things. As we already talked about in class, I am intending for our in-class discussions, those days that we meet in the classroom, like not this week, but next week, to be composed primarily of workshops. I have some writing exercises and little discussions like that we'll do, but I want those primarily to be workshops. I mentioned in class last week that I would love for you to let me know about workshops. So one thing I would like is you can either go ahead and comment below or just send me a message. But I'd love if somebody feels ready this week to have something workshop for next week, if you could get it to me soon. So if you have a poem that you want to workshop, and remember, this could be something that you've worked on, this could be something that you're working on now, this could be something that came from one of our prompts. But I want it to be something that we can talk about in our in-class workshop discussions. I would like several. So next week, I don't know how many we'll be able to fit in, but I'd love to get quite a few. If you'd be able to get me something by, I said in class that I'd like them by Wednesday, but since I'm doing it right now, we can do Thursday, and that's fine with me. So if you can send me a poem, and it doesn't have to be long, it doesn't have to be anything that's super polished. In fact, as we discussed, I don't want it to be. I want it to be something that we'll really be able to talk about. But mostly I want it to be something that you're going to be benefited by a discussion about it. So make sure that it's something that you are looking forward to talking about, something that you feel strongly enough, even though you know it's not all the way there, that we can turn in. So I'll make a little note on here too, but I would love for you to let me know if you are willing to have a poem ready to go that you can turn into me by Thursday. What I'll do is you just email it to me directly, and I will set up a discussion thread in which I will post all of the poems that we are going to be sharing together. So I will just have individual files, but they'll all be on one discussion thread. That'll make it nice and easy for you. Then you will either print them out, if you're old school like I guess I am, old like I am, or you can use the capabilities on Canvas to make comments. I want these to go back to the writer when you're done with them, but obviously what we'll benefit from most is the actual in-class discussion about these. So if you have something ready to workshop, or if you're close to having something ready to workshop, get it to me, and we can do it. And I'll let the first 5 or 6 be able to go. So let's make sure you do it, and you do it quickly. And then if you don't get to workshop this week, obviously you'll get to workshop next week. If you're apprehensive about this, then you can wait a week. But I really need to make sure we get a few of you. So please. So basically, what I'm going to have set up with our week-to-week calendar here is that on the weeks we're in class, we're going to mostly do workshop, as I just said. And on the weeks that we're not, we're mostly going to discuss the materials from the textbook. I did notice that I made a little bit of a mistake with the page numbers for the Poetry Home Repair Manual for this week. I apologize. It meant to be 45 to 54. That's probably obvious when you looked at it. I think I had it at 42. So you read a few pages of the previous section. My apologies. That gets you ahead of the game for when we read that part for the 12th. But I intend to have a little bit of a discussion that I will record and post later today about the Kuser and the Oliver reading from the handbook and the home repair manual that we'll talk about later. So stay tuned for that. We'll make sure of it. And as you see, you just look through the calendar. It should be pretty self-explanatory. It's got the reading assignments. I've decided, based on the way the first couple of weeks have gone, that I would like to have those reading assignments mostly have you responsible for them on the weeks we're on Canvas having our discussions, and not necessarily on the weeks in which we're doing workshop. It'd be beneficial to do that, but I think that we'll have enough time this semester to primarily focus on those. I'll see how it's going, and then I'll adjust the March syllabus in whatever way I need to. I also want to make sure that we have a writing prompt for this week. I've loved the sound prompt. That's been super fun. Let's do another one. This one will be posted up as soon as this video is able to be watched. As it clears through YouTube and whatever else it needs to do, I'll get this one out. But here's what I want you to do. This is one of my favorites, actually. I really like this prompt because I think it allows you to do really interesting things. This is a prompt that was given to me by my friend Scott Poole, who's a very funny poet. Now he seems like he dabbles mostly in art in addition to his poetry, but Scott's a funny guy, and we were having lunch one day and really trying to pick each other's brains for prompts. And this was a long time ago. I've taken his prompt. I think he's okay with it. He did tell me, when you tell another teacher about a writing prompt, you have to know that it might get used. So the prompt is this. I want you to take an idiom, an expression, a cliche. It's raining cats and dogs. And make it literal. So write a poem in which that thing literally happens. So I'm going to include a list of Wikipedia's idioms, and just, you can look through those. You don't have to use any of those. You can use anything you want. But I want you to take any expression that we use in a sort of cliche idiom type way and make it literal. So if you are behind the 8 ball, you are literally behind an 8 ball. If I said before it's raining cats and dogs, you were literally seeing cats and dogs falling from the sky, which is horrifying. So write about that. Are you as cool as a cucumber? Well, if you are, then you'll have an easy time with this exercise. So that's the prompt for this week. As with all the prompts, I'm going to post it up. You can get things started as soon as you can. I think this one should be fun. I always enjoy getting to read these and look through these very creative things that I expect from you. Hopefully you can live up to those expectations that I have for you. So again, go over this day-to-day calendar. Keep up with it. Below, I want you to tell me if you are going to be able to workshop something next week. When we are in class formally, I will have a sign-up sheet that we'll be able to kind of do in class to get us caught up for the next few workshop sessions, so we'll be able to do it. But for this week, it's tricky. I know it'll be our first time workshopping each other's work. But I know many of you will be up to it. So I would love for a handful of you to volunteer for next time so that we can get some poems going and we'll be able to have good workshops. And I have a good feeling about this group. I loved our discussions last week. I've loved our discussions each of the times we've met face-to-face and on Canvas. I think you are an amazingly thoughtful bunch of people who are going to make good comments and good feedback. You've done that on everything that we've had so far, so why would I be wrong? So make sure you get that to me. And if you have any questions about anything at all, make sure you make a comment below. Thank you very much, everybody.